Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
There's no way to tell. It's when you get home and turn the computer.
I have not fucked that up yet.
Well, wait, not that many.
We've fucked lots of stuff up, just not bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Massenomics podcast. I'm Tyler. Next to me, as always, is Tommy.
What's up?
And way over there is Tanner.
Hey.
Staring at a smashed laptop that
looks good.
fell in the back of my truck and must have broke on the back of the seat or something.
Maybe it just needs to warm up.
Yeah, it could be just cold.
I bet that's it. Let me hit it. No,
Yeah,
that didn't do it either.
No.
Oh, fuck. Well, this $200 Acer has got us through almost 115 episodes. It's its time.
It seemed, I don't know anything about like what goes on underneath the hood, but it seems like it's done its
been
job.
trusty.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been really problematic lately doing literally anything. I'll like open the shit to record and it's like a 5-minute thing. So its replacement's on the way. So
$300 Acer,
yeah, I wish.
150% more.
I actually had convinced my wife to accept this as her computer when I was done with it, and she doesn't know that yet, but she does not get to use this now.
She still could.
She still
Oh,
could.
yeah.
She just has to have it plugged into a TV
Yeah.
to use it.
Well, it's a bigger screen. It's kind of a win-win, I think.
It's a desktop now.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we've nothing but the best equipment here for the Massenomics podcast.
Yep. That's always been our motto.
Yep. So we wrapped up here last week talking about the pregame to the U.S. Open. By the time you're hearing this, I would say this might be old news, but our take on it is always news.
The freshest.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's a little bit of context now, with, and I'm just trying to make you keep listening. So, listen, there's value to this, I promise.
You're going to hear a lot of really interesting perspective on
insight.
some sides of the story that you maybe hadn't even considered before.
From three of the most professional minds.
It's like Skip and Shannon up in here. Just
Yep.
So, I think the big story was...
Well, just wait though. Who did we pick to win? Do you guys remember?
Yes, I do.
I feel like we had a lot of talk about it.
I feel like you generally were leaning towards Yuri.
I think I
You
was.
were generally leaning towards maybe Brandon Allen. Like, I'm not sure if you were 100% positive that he's going to, but that was kind of your, like...
Yeah.
And I said Larry Wheels. So, we did get the three.
We're pretty good.
We got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was over 220s.
Yes.
And I think we didn't know enough about the under 220s. I think we kind of said Ben Pollock maybe because we didn't know a whole lot of other people.
Exactly. And he didn't win, though. Right. He didn't get top 3.
There was a lot of... How do we put this? There was a lot of... I don't want to say poor performances, but a lot of people, I believe, feel that they underperformed.
I didn't see a single person besides a woman that said that they were happy with how they did.
Yeah.
Like
and
they are all.
And actually, I don't think it has anything to do. I don't believe that they didn't do well. I just think that they did not lift the heavy weights that they thought they were going to. Right. And there was some speculation on the bars was one talk, and then the stage was another. Did you hear some of that stuff?
I heard both of those.
Yeah.
And then
so what of the bars? I hadn't really heard much of that.
Supposedly,
we know what the bars are. They're all kabuki strength.
Correct.
There was the kabuki deadlift
there was a
bar.
new kabuki deadlift bar, which is not.
This was I think the first time really being used outside of the.
So what was
Yuri broke it on his first attempt, I believe, even.
Oh, see, I didn't hear that
something,
part.
I believe something. Okay, let me rephrase that. I read that one person said somewhere on a comment on an Instagram post when they were talking about it. Somebody meant this is how we learn everything. You
Well, it's
guys.
where you learn anything, really.
But I was pretty sure because they had got to a second deadlift bar.
I did hear they brought out a second bar. I
And
didn't know what
and
the reasoning
think,
was.
And it's not like it broke in half, but I think there was something wrong with the bar after Yuri's deadlift.
What I heard with the bar is it sounded like there was a lot of grip issues, but specifically it sounded like hook grip people were having issues with it. And we've used, I believe it's the same knurling
That's on the
is on
power
the next
bar.
gen power bar, yeah. And like we can all say like it feels different.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
and-
We all kind of say it feels good though.
Yeah.
Like,
But we have noticed too, though, that like I remember Thick Nick used that bar on his last PR deadlift, and listen, that fucking thing hangs on to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
it
it
does.
hangs on to you. So like,
but what was happening?
does it hang on to a fault? Then is it like ripping your shit up?
Well,
then
that's
when the
what
weights get over. 800
supposedly
pounds?
guys with hook grip were having issue to the point where they were actually going to mixed grip, like between attempts.
really?
But then there was other people that didn't have an issue either, and so some people were saying, well, you can't really blame the bar if some people are fine with it and some people aren't, because if it really was the bar, it should just be across the board, and then it just gets tough when you're at such a high level like that.
Well, and
you
like
know?
anything, like the bar could have favored one type of lifter versus another, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
does fucking every bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Was there anything with the bar on the squat or the bench, or it was just a deadlift
I
thing?
think on the squat there was talk.
Was it
was
whippy?
hard to say that it was maybe a little whippy, but even then, who knows? Because there was also talk because it was on an erected stage.
See, I think that's
you're on a.
I could see that.
because you
making
could
a
see some of
difference.
them when they drop the deadlift, and you could see that stage kind of do the trampoline thing, like
Yeah.
wobble out.
I know Rob Philippus fell on his first attempt, walked it out, fell. I'm going to already give these guys credit for the best spotters in the world because it was 909. He walked it back, started moving on him, and then fucking he buckled. And they catch him and 909
Yeah.
like right away,
Yeah.
stand him up, rack it, and then he comes out, like he gets back under it again and sticks it. JP Price had the same thing.
Did you see what it looked like when he walked out? He was a squat he missed. It was a little over 1,000 pounds, and it was the scariest wobbly. Yes, where JP Price.
Oh, see, I didn't
it was
get that.
I think it was 1,003 pounds or whatever it is, slightly over 1,000, and he was like almost like a seizure, convulsing,
Really?
like where like his whole body.
So
and then
you
I
ever-
was like, oh my god, he's not going to try and squat after that because it took like 5, 6, 7, 8
Didn't
seconds.
he rack it and walk
No,
away?
he finally got steady.
No, it was one of his. It was a second attempt that he
That could be,
walked out,
yeah.
and I think it got weird on him, and they kind of caught him, and he put it back, and I think he even said that he like undid his fucking belt so that he wouldn't even try to get back under it. Like he needed to be
Yeah.
done, but
Then that 1,003 or whatever it was, then he did squat it and he got it like 3/4 of the way up, and I was just so like after the battle that it looked to even just stand, I couldn't believe that he even was able to.
attempt it.
Yeah.
That was the key. Like if you look at the numbers that maybe didn't deliver, just the numbers, the guys just didn't deliver the big numbers. It's the big guys. Like
Yeah.
the big guys did not. The 1,000-pound squats didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Brant.
I also feel like a meet like this, just with what's on the line, though, you go for broke. Like, you're not going like, oh, I had a really good day and came in 5th. Like,
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna-
true too. Like they are taking big jumps and with a big fucking target.
Yeah, like this isn't the day that you like, I got my 5-pound PR and I go
I
home and
almost
feel
got the
good.
impression that a lot of people were hoping for a big fucking home run second attempt.
Yeah.
And then that the third one was a fucking, full court shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it goes in, fuck
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way they looked at it, especially the ones that maybe weren't quite like really near the top, like that needed that to win. Like they were taking some crazy attempts, but everybody went huge though. You know what I mean? There were some big attempts.
Also, I think it also helps to emphasize the fact that you can't stress enough how much different a full meet can be than just a lift.
A
in
full
the,
meet with calibrated plates
yeah,
walked out. 'Cause
right.
a lot of guys, and I do not fault them at all, once you get over that 900-pound mark, you don't walk out a lot of squats. Like,
I don't want to walk out 6.
Right. And
you
then-
know? And so, like, once you add in all those factors, like, it's a whole different animal at this point.
And it's not, the Rob and JP and Brandon probably all did squats in training that were either slightly lower or equivalent weights that looked easier than that. But that's on the day that they're like planning on
Well, and
a
did
big
they
squat
cut 30 pounds in the
right,
40
exactly.
hours before that? And
That's someone like Rob does a
had a
really
big
big
weight
cut. Brandon doesn't, I guess, because he's super heavyweight, but
But
JP
I
doesn't.
think a lot of the people, under that 275 are going through some type of weight cut, whether
Yep.
it's 10 pounds or, a more drastic 30 pounds.
Yep.
And that's a whole nother variable too. That
Well, and speaking of weight cuts, didn't Joe Sullivan, didn't he not make weight?
I wondered what happened.
That's what I had heard
didn't
is
He
know.
didn't make
missed
weight,
weight,
and I think
yeah.
he lifted the next day then. I think he moved up and lifted the second day.
Okay.
But with the type of meet this is, like with the prize money that they have, if you don't make your weight class, you're kind of out of the
Yeah.
you're like instantly out of the running for the money.
Right.
You're not allowed.
Oh, if the weight class that you're signed up for, if you don't make it, then
Yeah,
you're
so like
just
if you go
yeah.
for like 198 or whatever it is and you miss
Yeah.
it and you compete at 220, well, that wasn't the one you registered
Yeah.
for, so like you're not eligible.
Kevin Oak is another one that I saw.
And
Did
I believe
he even lift?
I
or?
think he did one squat attempt and I think he got buried on it. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm not sure if it was hurt or if it just like, oh, this is not my day, but the way I understand it is he had one attempt and that was it. Same thing, John Hack, he took one attempt on squat, hurt his quad on the way down, and he was done for the day too. So like those lighter weights really got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Between weigh-ins and injuries and things like that.
Yeah. Larry Wheels was one that I was really curious to watch and see how it unfolded because he'd been hitting all these huge numbers and stuff. But then it goes to show you again, like, it's harder to do all 9 lifts on one day. It's just.
It is, and to a competition standard. Because,
Yeah.
like, that
He
I
even
had
said
heard
that, too.
Dennis Cornelius actually had a post. He was the only guy there, as far as I know, that has competed at IPF Worlds, which,
Yeah.
a lot of people say IPF, strictest judging. And he, in his post, said this was stricter judging than IPF Worlds.
Uh-huh.
And so there was a lot of people
Because
getting called.
there even was a little scuttlebutt about it too, that it was like it's almost
Overly
missed.
yeah.
It wasn't just like strict to a T. That there was some times that maybe they missed some calls. But
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting to see too. Like I heard Larry Wheels had to actually gain weight. He had to like waterlog because he was so light. Like you have to apparently be in the weight class.
Didn't he weigh like 278?
275.8 or something.
Okay.
So
was
he
what
had to
it-
like,
drink,
just
he had to
barely,
put
yeah.
on 3 pounds of water before
Yeah.
they would.
let him.
Yeah.
Just like you said, then I suppose he couldn't have been in the running for.
Right, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
But
he was
he-
just doing that just because he wanted the 308 record, right?
Yeah, that's
because
that's
I mean
what
the
he-
whole point of this
yeah.
competition was the Wilks score, so
Right.
it's almost
Yeah, moving
not
up wasn't gonna
advantageous
help.
to be putting on extra pounds.
No, but I don't think like he even. Did you see the post that he had? Then he kind of said like, "Yeah, I was very shy of that goal,
Yeah.
but there's things I need to change." He said I need to. He said I need to start going more to competition standard with the way that I do things, and
the really big one with him is he doesn't wear wraps.
Right.
you're giving up weight right there.
Right.
And everyone's like at his
He
point.
didn't even squat in wraps.
Yeah, his
No,
point in
no.
his training, like he says he can't get as much out of wraps, but like you would think that'd be one you really want to work on because
It's
like,
just something he's got to learn to do.
yeah, like that. I would think you're giving up at least 50 pounds.
yeah,
know?
yes, I would sure
At
think
least.
so, especially at those weights.
A lot of those guys I think probably get more than 100 out of their wraps.
Yeah. Dennis Cornelius is pretty. He did pretty well. He's pretty impressive, and he had a good he was hitting his attempts.
Yeah.
But then like you said that what I wondered if he said it was harder, but he's used to that. He's very used to that.
Well, and the thing that it's just you watch his stuff and the attempts I saw, like 3rd attempts for him, especially in squat and bench, were really, really easy. Like
Yes.
he had a lot of weight there, and you just kind of think like, geez, like how does this guy pull this off?
Yeah.
Like when you look at him, it's like he's not built the same way these other guys are. Like he's
Right.
built differently. But yeah, he's just really, really strong.
yes.
There's and what was it? Part of it, Larry too, is like his bench in training is a little on the volatile side.
Yeah.
Like it's a big bouncing and like
And he's wearing like almost knee wrap things on
Yeah.
his elbows.
Yeah, and
Like I'm not to say like, oh,
yeah, like I don't.
600 pounds is easy because of that stuff, but like.
But I think he left a lot on the table because I think even in training he's benched well because 589 was his number for this meet, and I swear I've seen him
I think he
put
jumped
well
to
over
like
6.
6'11" on his 3rd or
Okay.
something and missed that one. But
Yeah, he's. I mean, because I think I've seen him bench over 6 like many times. Yeah, he did 640 in training here.
yeah.
But it also appears to be some hands on the bar. That's some other things that seem to.
Yeah.
It just shows though how hard, like gym lifts compared to meet lifts, are a completely different animal.
Yeah.
They really are.
Which is why I
calibrated plates alone.
I only brag about my gym lifts.
Calibrated plates alone. If each plate is off, let's just say each one's light by 2 pounds.
Yep.
When these guys are getting like 8 plates on the bar on each side, like that's
a huge difference.
That's quite a bit of weight all of a sudden. That's not being accounted for.
I think the tip here is to never do a meet.
well, there you
and then
go.
You're stronger than
you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it ever.
Yeah.
And you can just tell everybody you outlift them.
It's almost too easy.
Yep. And then no one can look you up in Open Powerlifting to
Yeah,
know.
no one
like,
can ever verify. Like,
Yeah.
listen,
Well, you can
there's
just
no
say
data.
what you're going to do at the next one,
That's
and
true.
then
Road 2.
yeah,
The
you
road
don't have
to,
to. Yeah.
I did. You may want to look at Open Powerlifting. You should notice soon that your Instagram handle is on there.
Oh,
though.
is it?
Yeah. 'Cause
Did we have people that take care of that for us?
yeah, I had the connection that I started firing over some of the guys
Did
to
you?
get them on there. Yeah.
Sweet. Larry.
Yeah. I haven't yet, but I need to.
Larry needs to post on
Yeah.
Instagram more than once a
Yeah.
month.
That was my goal. Eventually, I was going to get everyone added from the
Yeah.
gym that is in the.
And
database.
did I also see if you pay a few bucks, you can like customize your
You get it in
Yeah.
color.
get some
Yeah.
colors on your name.
Yeah, it's not very. I think it's like $5 maybe or something.
Yeah, I think that's all it is.
Yeah,
Could be a
So,
great
yeah.
great birthday or Christmas present for anyone in your life.
that's true. A colored name on Open Powerlifting.
I mean, it would be pretty cool to have. Though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but let's get to the top of the pile here.
Well, maybe we should go a little more.
Where do
About,
we want to go middle of the pile?
yeah, maybe we should like start
Talk
it
about the middle
low
of
and
the
build
pile.
it up.
Let's talk
What
about.
what are we going overall? We going
I was going to go overall
for men's,
for women's.
for women's? Oh,
Because that's what all of the overall
Yeah, I
is.
was gonna say that's the.
The ladies cleaned house here with the top 4. Wilkes, right?
Yeah,
So,
and 3 of those being records
of all time.
of the
All-time
top.
world records, yeah.
3 of those 3 top ones are the 3 highest Wilks of all time.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So, male or female, too, like just of all time. So, the interesting thing was Steffi Cohen was kind of poised to have a big meet. I think Stacy Burr was poised to have a big meet. Things didn't quite go the way I think Stacy had planned. But Steffi, I think, had as good of a meet as you probably would have expected with a 440 squat, 215 bench, and a 518 deadlift.
I believe she missed her first 2 squats on depth,
I think
Yes, I
that
believe
was
so.
yeah. She had to hit her
which is
third.
a scary way to start a day.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty wild when you set an all-time world record.
Yeah.
Your first 2
with
attempts
one
squat.
attempt, yeah.
So her total Wilks was 642.78, which is the all-time world record, which held just long enough for then Cece Holcomb to come on.
Do you know who CC Holcomb?
I had
Nobody-
never heard of
nobody
her.
knew who
Yeah.
she was.
I had never heard of her, and I noticed like overnight, like the day I first saw her name pop up on there, I think she had around 9,000 followers, and then like the next day, I think she. I mean, it was picking up for her. But it was picking up for her.
That's the Massenomics effect.
That's what I was thinking. Massenomics
So-
effect.
But she squatted 617, benched 364, and deadlifted 606 for a
That's pretty
1587
crazy.
I didn't
total.
even know what her actual numbers were.
That is not.
Fucking
At what was her weight?
What, do you know what her body
181.
was? 181. So
Dang.
I don't know if she even weighed the full 181, but she's in the 181.
that
Oh.
fucking hurts.
And what was her Wilks then?
664.9.
What was the highest Wilks of all time before that? Wasn't it Zahir and some like lady were
I
within
thought it was
like a point or 2 of each
620
other?
or
Yeah, I
630
think
or
it was in the 620s.
So she just absolutely destroys it.
yeah.
Not only that, Steffi comes and sets an all-time world record, and then gets it smashed by 24 points.
Yeah,
right.
like it's like
In the
oh
same
she just
day. Like
she
the-
just like broke the 100-meter dash by like a tenth of a second, and then someone comes and beats it by a second.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it was.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
Yeah, she had almost a 1,600-pound total.
fuck.
That's really crazy.
That is nuts. Like,
Yes.
Yeah,
that is pretty nuts. I don't know. It's hard to wrap your mind around her.
It
her,
is.
her, and she is not a like
She's not like a super heavy.
No,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like she's
she's jacked.
Yeah. Well, and when you look at her, you're not like, whoa, she's like Larry Wheels ripped either. Like, like you'd see like certain female bodybuilders back in the day and be like, oh yeah, they're much more scary looking. And that was like, she just looks like a girl that lives.
Looks like a good strong chick.
Yeah.
She fucking is strong as shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You know? Yeah, that's crazy. That was crazy.
What it does it. With the Wilks score, I don't know how I asked this, but with the women, does that show that there's something there something?
This is what I think really, and I don't think anyone has this answer, but like from a statistic standpoint, when you look at, let's just say I'm going to use such crazy round numbers here, but let's say if 100 people are powerlifting, like nowadays, is there like one girl for every 5 guys powerlifting? I don't think it's 50-50. It's not 50-50.
No.
Like it's maybe 1 to 5.
Yeah.
So it's like statistically,
let's do this. Open Powerlifting next week. We'll message them and we'll have them get us this actual number because they can tell us men and males versus females in 2017.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out that ratio.
And then like the fact that let's just say. I'm just going to make total guesses here. We'll just say it's 20. There's one woman for every 5 guys. I don't know. And the fact that like that little of a population or that smaller of a population than guys is destroying like the records.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe the Wilks thing isn't working out so good. Like
that's what I would think. That would be my opinion. But maybe then the thing is you just can't compare the men's side versus the women's side on the maybe it's hard to compare the two against each other.
Yeah, and it's tough because like this, I know this gets like heavy into physics and all types of things that are way over my head for how you find something that's comparable. And I've heard like allometric brought up. I don't even know that's how you say it. I've heard that be brought up as something that might be more competitive, but there's also downsides to that one too. And I've also heard when I was looking around, someone was saying that like once you start to get heavy enough with Wilks too, or just on either extreme, I think it really starts to fall apart. And I thought I read something like if you were to weigh like 500 pounds or 550 and just showed up to a meet and had like 100-pound total, your Wilks would be like in the thousands. Like it would completely shatter any record.
Yeah. I have heard many times that it favors the heavy lifters, but in this case, I don't know that is necessarily.
Yeah,
only to an extent.
With the women, they're not. These aren't heavy women breaking it. Like it's just. But it's different.
What I've heard a lot of people say, and I don't know the reasoning to support this, but I have heard this statement many times, is that Wilks was designed for equipped powerlifting, and it's really is not applicable for.
I've heard that
for
too,
raw lifting, and I don't know why. But
do you know who made Wilks?
I did at one point in time because I've looked this up. I know before, but I don't remember anything.
I believe it's Robert Wilks.
Okay,
from
that
Australia,
sounds right,
who has now been like ousted from the IPF for. I mean, there's like a whole. You can like look into it. There's like a
bass player for Foghat.
Seriously?
No.
That's why he was ousted from the IPF.
Yeah, but there's like this whole like thing of drama with it, and I don't know how long have they been even using Wilks? Like 20 years?
I don't know.
Like we wrote an article on this. And
we don't
even know the finer points of it.
I can't even remember.
Well,
and I don't think
wondering what kind of in-depth reporting you do.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone really knows the finer points of it. It's just like, that's the number we use at meets, and that's it.
Right.
We need to someone needs to hire a team of physicists and engineers to quit whatever important research project they're doing.
Who was
to get
it? I
on
think
this.
It might have been Greg Knuckles that had a.
Yeah, I know he goes really in depth on this.
Pretty good formula that maybe was would be nearly. It definitely kind of picked apart some of this, but it was kind of convoluted, not in a bad, just in a way that I can't comprehend.
Yeah, but then to on the other side of it, to defend it, I guess when I would look at it as far as the top 3 placings panned out for each one, I don't know if I would say that it didn't do a good job determining the winners. Would it be
because relative to body weight,
right?
Those are fucking insane numbers.
I think Yuri Belkin at his whatever he weighed 220 some pounds doing 2260 is probably deserving of winning.
Pretty impressive
over Brandon Allen, doing 120 more pounds at 100 and some more pounds body weight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
Yeah, I think in this instance it did a pretty good job of picking out the winners. But
Yeah.
Because we're looking at, what are we looking at? Like 3.5 times body weight squat, double body weight bench, and over 3 times body weight deadlift,
yes.
which at really any level is.
I think it's hard for anyone to beat him on a Wilks in the men's side of it on any
it
given
is.
day.
And then I think he also went 5 for 9 for the day, so
Yeah.
it wasn't his best performance by any means either.
He had a post too where he kind of said that too. He's like, I had my annual shit the bed at the U.S. Open meet,
And still,
but shortly after that, last year is when he went then and deadlifted like
Did 5
900
meets in 5 weeks. And
yeah, Yuri will be competing again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's but yeah, those numbers are fucking pretty crazy. I think Brandon Allen had a pretty good meet. Open Powerlifting is going to get us this answer right now to the gender ratio.
Brandon Allen, just to like show how far it did go down to the wire for was it just for the heavyweights or for overall? Like he had the last deadlift up. He was just waiting for the down command.
That was for the overall win. That would
For
have
the
won him the
overall.
40 grand.
So yeah, he was just waiting for the down command, like maybe a tenth of a second
Yes.
away. Didn't get it, and missed the deadlift. And it's like that was the difference between you and 40 grand.
Well, yeah, and he did still win 10 for second. So it dropping that cost him $30,000 just in that one little bit of an
I think dropping
instance.
your iPhone's a big deal. Like, this is
Wouldn't that suck though? I mean, it's still like obviously he did really well and it's still a good accomplishment, but that feeling would suck when it's bad enough just if that. I mean,
just
you
to
did
have
it.
it's
You
like,
did it.
You did the hard part.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You did that
I
exact
did
thing
the
and
same thing. I was
and
right
dropped
up top,
it.
yeah.
But imagine if
there was
that
actually
happened
something on the
and
line.
you lost $30,000 just because of doing that. I would like cry. I'd be like, oh, it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
You guys remember when I fell on a sandbag a foot away from the end of a strongman competition and I could have won $40?
Yeah.
And
Imagine if that would have cost you $30,000.
I still sometimes wake up with the shame from that. And
From the tens of eyes that witnessed it.
listen, $40 is
There was
a
at
lot
least
of money
40
to some
people.
people.
There was at least 40 people in that old armory that day.
They feel my pain.
On that cold, snowy January day.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, all in all, I mean, Brandon, considering what he's done in the last year as far as like dropping weight, kind of getting a little bit healthier, coming back in with a, pretty decent. What was his last meet? Was I can't remember what the last meet was, but he had a meet last fall, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
the LA Fit Expo.
Yeah, LA
wasn't
Fit
that
Expo. Okay,
So he had that deal, but then that was and I think that went okay, but that's a big like back on the fucking map type deal.
And that's with him, saying that he didn't have his best day, and he's close to a 2,400 pound total. So he's if he stays healthy here and puts together another good training period, you'd think he'd be really poised to do something, especially then if he's at a meet with a little bit more lifter friendly, I wouldn't say rules but like judging and
So that's what. Do you guys personally? Is it more impressive for you to be like, well, I mean, this was a strict judging meet and they had to walk out squats? Like, do you say like, oh, this is like putting up a total like that under these conditions? Like, does that give you more respect?
I like that's the standard for this meet.
Like,
where
there's
they're
big
giving
money
out
on the line. There's big money on the line, so it's gonna be
because
the highest standard.
Because I don't want to see it like become a contest of who can squat the highest but just deep enough for it to count.
We're like, two of the judges were like, it's probably good enough.
Yeah. So I like that it's like that, but I know that some lifters like.
Because a lot of people say, well, a squat is a squat. It's not a walkout.
Yeah, like someone like Dan Bell would. I mean, he doesn't do this meet, and he wouldn't. I don't think. He doesn't want to walk him out, and he also makes fun of people that go by Wilkes too. You know, he makes jokes about that a lot.
I do like that joke though, because it is one of my favorite things. Because it's always the little guy who says that.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is like, okay, well, if a car flips over and it's landing on your child, are you gonna walk up to the 150-pound guy who has a fucking higher Wilkes, or you're gonna come up to me? You're gonna ask me to flip the fucking car over because I can lift more than that guy can. So, Open Powerlifting, motherfucking OGs here. We've got
Tommy looks like he's fairly close, wasn't he?
Yeah. So 5,200 or 52,947 men entries. Look at this. He's even breaking down the data. I fucking love these.
2/3 men, 1/3 women. My imaginary brain numbers
3 to
aren't
1. What is that?
2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Yeah. Are
2 to 1 raw.
Is that how that goes? 2 to 1 or 3?
Single ply is
that'd be 2
about
to 1.
single ply is about 5 to 1. Give or take. 5 or 6 to 1. 6 to 1.
Oh yeah.
So that's, but I mean that's.
For everyone listening, if we sound so confused, we're getting messages
We
on
are
our
getting
phone like
the
this
data
second, and we're trying to
as we
read them
speak.
while we're.
So I'll do the total. Let's do the total. So we'll call it 53,000 and 18,000, 19,000. Do you want to do that math?
What was it?
53,000. So we can just go 53 and 19.
Adding them together?
Yeah.
Or,
You
Well,
guys-
it's
you wanna
3 to
talk-
1.
you wanna-
3 to 1. Because for every, I mean, there's 3 times as many guys as women doing this, so it'd be 3 to 1.
what was it? To
As the no,
53,000 to 18,000.
that's 3 to 1. It's not called Massenomics, bitches.
yeah, that's 3 to 1.
3 to
Yep,
1.
yep.
Okay, so 3 to 1. So you're looking at 3 to 1 male to female, and yet the point we're getting to is
The top,
our top four. Frankly, top 4, and then let's just go out of the top 10. Like, how many are women here? 1, 2, 3. Where are we at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of the top 10. 60%. So that is a very disproportionate ratio.
It is disproportionate. I wouldn't say it's unrepresented by the guys. Like, there was definitely
there's
some
a lot
of the best
strong
guys.
dudes. I just think maybe just relative to here's what you have to look at though. Relative to the history of the sport, these women are the strongest women that have ever fucking walked around.
Yeah.
So maybe the men that came on here just didn't quite live up to the strongest standard
Yeah.
of high numbers in powerlifting that day. And that just is what it is. But you know, you're not going to look at Cece Holcomb's numbers and be like, well, I mean, I know some women who are who's strong too.
Who that squat 600 and deadlift 600
and just happen to also
Yeah,
bench
like she's at the-
363.
like with how crazy she is. Like, if next year she has a 700 Wilkes, I'll just be like, okay, yeah.
So what are her numbers? What's the craziest one of the 3? Can you pick one?
Wow, bench raw?
Yeah, was it
363
360?
bench?
Like, at 181 pounds? Like, that's pretty.
Especially where women and benching seems to usually be the lift that.
Yeah, like
is
a lot of
the-
people, you know, pick Jen
Thompson.
Jen Thompson
Because
as
that's so
like kind of the gold
disproportionate.
standard, and
Yeah.
she's like 315.
Yeah.
But you know, and like Stacy Burr with 315 bench too. So that's actually there. I mean, granted, that percentage of 50 pounds, that's a big 50 pounds to add. But like you're talking, she deadlifted and squatted 100 pounds.
What
more
was
than
Steffi
Stacey
Cohen's bench?
215.
Yeah,
So that's
okay.
the hole in her game there.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, just
I didn't
relative
realize
to-
how small she was. She's like 5 foot 120.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
A jacked 5 foot 120.
I think the squat is the most impressive. Honestly, I think the bench is a great all-time great bench, but that's like
Over
I-
600
here's the
pounds,
deal, it's like,
606.
so do you think the bench number is going to
Don't
be
break
able
your
to keep
phone,
moving?
too.
You know what I mean? Like, is that bench number going to keep like that? Moving up bench is hard, anyways.
Yeah.
But she's strong as shit. That squat number could just keep climbing.
Yeah, I didn't see all of her attempts. I do know I believe she didn't even take a third deadlift attempt, and her second one wasn't that hard. So there's also, I wouldn't be surprised if she just has a lot more there on all of them.
Isn't it funny how we at least follow powerlifting more than your average person that even follows powerlifting? Like, I'm not saying we're the most hardcore fans, but we don't even know who that person was before this
Yeah.
weekend. How can that be? Like,
Exactly.
it's because honestly, it's because she's a woman. There would be no man that would come into this, I don't think, and break the all-time Wilks and be like, "Oh, Larry Wheels, have you never heard of him?"
Like destroy the record.
Yeah,
Like just make Milanachev or Zahir just look like just amateurs.
Be like, none of us have ever heard of him before. Like never come across.
Like
any
you
ones
saw a
that would-
little bit of that this year with like some of these guys like squatting like that I don't even, starts with the V. I don't even know how you say their names. That
Vlad.
yeah.
something,
Yeah, like some of these guys that unless you've probably been following the sport a long time, you probably have never heard of.
Yeah.
One, because they're foreign. Two, it's just hard to keep track of everyone from all these countries. But the whole total thing, that's where it really gets.
Yeah.
But
That Vlad guy, though, he
had lifted too in the past,
Yeah.
and I think he was hurt and kind of disappeared.
yeah, for like 10 years, but his squatting now, like he looks like he's good. In training, he did, I think it was, well, I'm going to mess it up, but it was.
Does he have it on his Instagram? 'Cause
Yes,
I do have
yes,
him.
I have him too, and he looks poised where he's going to squat something like insane very soon.
Yeah.
He was the first one to do the 1,100 pounds, but it's like now he's going to do like 1,200. I don't know. I mean, he's, but then that's a different squat than what Brandon Allen had to do at the U.S. Open.
Yep.
When Vlad squats, he takes it out of a monolift, of course, but it's like there's like 5 people almost hugging him
Yep.
as he
like
takes
follow
it
you all
out
the
of
way
the
down, yeah.
I mean, it's just a whole different look to it.
It is, and that's where it just seems like, I mean, I get it. There's different levels to all of it, but it just seems really ballsy to have to walk these things out and get to the level that they do it.
It just depends on if you consider the walking of it out and the re-racking of it as part of the lift or not. If that is part of the lift or not.
So this is one of my questions with that debate is when people say a squat is a squat, not a walkout. Is that different than saying a deadlift is picking something up? It's not a grip exercise. Is that the same argument, or is that a different argument?
That seems similar to me. I mean, that's
because that's kind of how strongman does it. With strongman, it's like, well, this is more of just a pick something off the ground thing.
Yeah,
and it's it's not like we have other things to test your grip, but I don't hear people make that argument. So I didn't know how squat was the only one that has that thing, but.
Rephrase that for me again.
Okay, so people like to say a squat is a squat. It's not a walk. It's not a
a
walk.
monolift user would say it's not a walkout.
I mean, I really don't care either way.
No,
I'm just throwing out theoreticals here. So if a squat is purely just the bringing the weight down and standing the weight up,
why are we forcing the walkout?
So if that's like how you think of a squat, is it any different for a deadlift to say?
And let them use straps.
Yeah, a deadlift is a pick the weight up and set the weight down. Not it's not a grip exercise.
Yeah,
isn't that the same logic?
I think it just goes to all the weird intricacies of powerlifting of what is okay and what is considered raw and what's not. And and then like knee sleeves are okay, or like knee wraps.
Unless you ask somebody,
knee wraps is raw.
Unless you ask somebody who doesn't know anything, and they're gonna say, "Well, I mean, I don't wear knee sleeves because I only lift raw.
I lift raw."
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But like, it's just weird how it's even evolved to the point where it's at, where it's like,
well, I mean, it's just the nature of the sport is to lift as much as you can. So people come up with every way they can to. I mean, it's the same thing with, when you see some of these like meets in Russia where they're doing their deadlifts, and the plates definitely aren't little thin kilo plates. Like the weights are at the end of the bar,
and the bar is maybe a little longer and maybe a little thinner.
Yeah, and it's like a noodle. And like some of these guys are doing sumo, and I mean it's still crazy respectable, but they're clearing 4 inches of movement. Yeah. Like there's just all these little, and then 48-hour weigh-ins. It's the same thing, Like by the time you get on the platform, you're 30 pounds heavier again. It's just all you are. Yeah. Like it's just all these tricks people play with.
I'll never like that. Like I wish they would just. That just wasn't the standard anymore, and they just said, "Nah."
I actually think I love. Remember what was the Ripato's?
The way out.
The way out thing. I think is if you want to talk about like let's really maintain like your sport to have some integrity.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So let's quit gaming your fucking body weight.
Yeah.
Come in and lift, and then weigh your fat ass
Yeah.
after you're fucking done.
I
You're gonna
like
be
that a
what
lot,
you gotta
too.
be, and
Yeah.
ain't nobody
Yeah.
gonna actually lift as depleted as they are on the fucking
I mean,
scale.
I really don't even mind a 2-hour weigh-in because, like, if you're really gonna like just go for it,
You're probably gonna
you're
screw yourself
You're gonna
anyways.
screw yourself.
Yeah.
Like these guys,
I would
some of these
think
guys.
for a liability standpoint, you're just better
Well, yeah,
off.
that's-
Yeah.
That's if you were to explain it to like an alien who landed on this earth.
Yeah.
Aside from be like, wait a minute, you guys' lives are so soft. You have to pretend. You have to like invent lifting heavy things, and then
but then invent scenarios like
so that you can spend your day sitting on
Like,
your ass.
Mick, what do you mean you weigh 275 pounds? Like, you actually weigh like 320 pounds.
Yeah, like listen. What are you talking?
but I did in the 48-hour period prior.
3 hours ago, I was lighter, so now I'm actually. They just say I'm that light. It's like, but you're not. Listen, don't ask.
Yeah, I mean, when you actually talk it out, it sounds crazy. And I think if you took anyone that's not really involved in powerlifting and explain that to them, be like, really? Like, that's actually part of your sport? Like, it doesn't, because nowhere else does like something that happened 2 days ago count for like your current status in sports, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a weird.
And none of us are, I don't think, well versed in water cuts, and like,
No.
we're not good at doing that. So probably people that have gotten really good at doing that, they really like it because it's like part of the competition is like being able to.
Yeah,
success.
it's still always like from a spectator,
Yeah.
which a spectator in powerlifting is almost a non-existent thing. But from a spectator standpoint, I still would always rather see somebody go into the heavier weight class,
And lift the
basically
most
not doing a cut, and have a good day compared to like dropping 30 pounds to like have 2 points on a Wilks score or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah,
That
you
is
dropped
always the-
you dropped 30 pounds and you lifted less, but I guess your Wilks score was a little better than. Like, all your numbers were way worse than training. Like,
That's always the biggest, speculation you see too. Is like, well, I mean, it's like, don't ever cut weight, or don't ever cut weight off your total to fucking improve your Wilks score. Like, fucking just lift more weight. Like, don't be dropping 20 pounds of body weight and then taking 15 pounds off your total and calling it a wash.
yeah, if 40 grand's on the line, I guess
whatever
you're
it
going to
takes.
do whatever. But
Yeah.
In a sport that will pay you $0 for your life, like, if there's 40 grand, you do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. It would be cool to win $40,000,
it would be.
from
Yeah,
a
I'd be
powerlifting
cool
meet.
with that. Also, my man Dimitar has been squatting.
Yeah, did he do over 1,000 now?
I think he squatted over $1,000.
Did he?
And things I did not know about Dimitar squatting. Dimitar squats deep.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
he's
look good.
He buries his shit. Here we got 1,003. Oh no, this was one of his warm ups. This was 950. I think he shows his 1,003. Got a little hair, got a little beard.
I think it'd be awesome just to see him show up to a meet and just kill it.
I'm excited to see that. I asked him about his deadlift on one of his posts. I
Yeah.
think he posted a deadlift of slightly under 800, and at the Arnold he pulled like 930 on the Rogue Elephant bar. And I said, do you think 400 kilo? Like, do you think you'll get 400 kilos figured out by the meet, which would be 880 pounds? So that'd be pulling 50 pounds off of his strap. And he basically said no.
Really?
That he said no. He's like, I'm just figuring out like the no
grip.
straps thing, and he said maybe in time I could get there, but according to him, it sounded more like it'd be like probably more like 100 pounds less.
Because I would think you'd be so much less beat up from a powerlifting meet versus those strongman activities.
Yeah.
You'd go into deadlift feeling like, all I did was
nothing.
squat and bench
Yeah.
today.
You
Like,
know, I just think though that there's a certain amount with that where there is only so much you can hang on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna mix grip, which is gonna change a lot.
And it looks like a snatch grip, mixed grip.
Well,
the way,
maybe-
like where I'm like, oh my
Why-
God, your arms are so
why is
wide.
that the way now? Like,
Yeah.
Jerry Pritchett's that way, Shaw's that way, Hafler's that way, to where like I have a wider stance now, literally just because of those guys, and I feel a little more comfortable and powerful that way. But my hands are as narrow as my stance will allow.
Yeah.
because I just don't see the advantage to that.
well, when you look at the common denominator, though, it's those guys are all like 6'5" or more, about 400 pounds. Like, I don't think it's advantageous if you're 5'8", 160
But look
to
at-
go
I
in
mean,
with this wide grip deadlift. Like,
Dimitar's hands are no joke. Like the outside of his hands
On a
are
regular barbell,
two
it
and a
looks
half
crazy.
inches away from
Yeah, it looks
I'll-
like where I would
yeah.
grab it if I was going to do what I would call a snatch grip deadlift.
It just seems like their frame is that big.
Yeah.
I mean, they are built completely different than
Yeah.
anyone else, and I just think their frame is that big that it can support that technique. I don't think it's good advice for anyone else outside of them.
But Dimitar's 1003 was fast as shit.
Yeah.
and
So-
he
so-
walked it out too. Like he looked pretty.
What do you
good
guys
there.
think about his hair and beard?
Love the beard.
You can't even tell it's the
looks-
same
love the hair.
guy.
He looks a lot better, I think.
Love the hair.
Yeah, I think he
Dimitar,
looks
you
good.
gotta keep the hair, bud. I really
Yeah.
like it.
You're covering some things up.
Yeah, gotta cover that brain.
Yeah.
Brain's hanging out. But the beard looks dope. It's actually gray. So he's
Yeah.
like got a big like grayish fucking dark beard. It's pretty sweet.
I think we talk about him all the time. Dimitar would be like one of our top guys that would really be fun to just
It would be.
sit down.
Oh
with.
man,
Don't
it'd be
know-
awesome.
And I think his English is decent.
Yeah.
I
I
saw some things and I think his English is fine.
We need to be able to talk to Dimitar someday.
We gotta talk
Yeah.
to Dimitar.
Yeah.
Dimitar's on my fucking talk to list
Yeah,
for sure.
and I want to it's like, him and Jerry Pritchett look like they're like best friends, and
Yeah,
I just want to
it's
know
it's like I want to be best
What's
friends.
it take to be the best friend club here?
Can we be best friends? Like and I won't do like Mark Henry. I'll just actually you just tell me what your name, what you want to be called, and I'll
gonna
call you that.
Not gonna
And I
make
won't-
up
I won't
make up
up
12
nicknames
different
to
things
go.
over a weekend.
Somebody needs. I think Mark Henry prepares for his Arnold MC job like we prepare for this podcast.
Oh, he doesn't
Like I
prepare.
think he just grabs a microphone and he just starts talking.
It's kind of like when we sit down and 5 minutes before we're like,
What are we gonna talk about? I don't know. Record. Fuck it. Put the pressure on.
Except, it hasn't been a week or a year since the last time we tried to do this,
That's
so we at
true.
least have that going for us.
If we had a year between episodes, we would have some material.
Well, we would, yeah.
Not that we have an expertise in our subject matter, but we have an understanding of our subject matter beyond what Mark Henry has an understanding of his subject matter from what I've and I don't know why he should know
So
a lot
much.
about it. He's
I just think
been there and
I
done
think
that,
what I
but-
think is I think it's not quickly accessible to him.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I do know that's hard, I suppose, to like be up there and have to come up
Yeah.
with a thing.
Well, I don't think he's a fan, an in-depth fan of strongman. Like he doesn't. I don't think he sits and watches the heats of World's Strongest Man. He's like, oh, that
He's an
up-and-comer
up-and-comer.
from
He's gonna
Poland
be-
is
yeah.
good this year.
Yeah, he's-
Whereas that British guy,
He knows everybody.
yeah, he loves the sport and lives the sport.
You know, you guys, speaking of strongman here, we haven't discussed how our world-class reporting has brought us to the upper tiers of podcasts being mentioned on the Adam Carolla Show.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah.
that's right.
Adam Carolla Show, which as of it's not anymore, but as of I think 2015 was like the most downloaded podcast.
It's
in the
not
world.
anymore though.
No, I think like.
But I
think
mean,
Joe
Adam
Rogan's-
Carolla, I kind of feel like that's a name everyone knows for
but
one reason or
He's
another.
had a podcast forever. He was actually had one of the first like
Before at a time when people are
when
like, what the
people
fuck's
did
a podcast?
Like I want to say his podcast is like 15 years old. But yeah, they were talking about Hafthor's deadlift or Hafthor winning worlds, and somehow they ended up with a video of him deadlifting from the Arnold, and then they mentioned on there that the video was from Massenomics. I think they pronounced it Massenomics.
It was close at
Yeah,
least.
It was
she
close
rattled it off pretty quick.
It was
but-
close enough.
From Instagrammer Massenomics. However she said it.
Yeah, we're not Instagrammers, Adam.
And just like that, we got 100,000 followers overnight, right?
That's right.
Oh well, then we're Instagrammers.
I did like hearing Adam Carolla's commentary on it. He's like, man, he's got to have 8 stacks of weights on that thing, and
Yeah.
he's tall too. When you're
Yeah.
tall, the deadlift's harder.
Yeah.
It's got to go a long ways.
I could tell Adam Carolla has some understanding of
He
lifting,
did.
like
He
something.
So he has a bit of a background in like boxing,
Okay.
like quite a bit. Like he's actually, if you get him talking about boxing, he'll go on and on and on and on. And on. I mean, Adam.
Like he's
Carolla.
definitely been around a gym before.
So he's
Yeah.
been around a gym and training, I think, quite a bit. So I think he does know because he was like, I mean, there's like how many say 45 pounds a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
those are-
Yeah, you could tell that he knew something, but also not too much.
You don't want to know too much.
Yeah.
It's the burden of knowledge.
So we made it on the Adam Carolla show.
Yeah.
I wonder if we
what's
could.
even left after
I wonder
that?
if we could get on. Could he get us on the Man Show?
Bring it back.
I don't know why we haven't been asked to be on Joe Rogan's podcast yet.
That's the next logical step.
Listen, guys, if you're listening, If any of you guys are best friends with Joe Rogan, or if you just
sure a
want
lot
to
of you
spam
are.
his Instagram, tell him he's really got to talk to these Massenomics guys. They're
Yeah.
super interesting. And I promise if we get on, we will not let him talk about bow hunting because it is the most boring fucking thing in the world he talks about.
I would be okay with not talking about bow hunting.
And I'm not even
I could
anti-bow
not.
hunting.
I could not talk about bow hunting for a really long time.
But if I have to, we've actually not talked about bow hunting for 115 episodes. I actually think too that like if you ever listen to it, I really like his podcast 80% of the time. There's such a diverse amount of guests, so but I swear every single episode. Can you guys hear that flush? The new podcast studio has a bathroom. That like in 80% of the episodes, somehow randomly, it's just like, well, you know, I only eat elk that I kill, and the meat's so much better. Blah blah. And I was like, oh god damn it, Joe. And it's just gonna go on and on and on. So, hashtag stop talking about bow hunting, Joe. But yeah, so that's why we're gonna get on the Joe Rogan podcast.
that sounds good to me.
That fucking thing has so much power now. They're saying that like his podcast surpasses the audience that like any television show or Super Bowl has ever had ever, and that it does it fucking like 5-6 times a week.
Do you listen to it?
I don't.
I can't listen to all of them anymore.
I used to, like, if it was like a guest that I, had an
Yeah.
interest in or whatever, I'd kind of get pieces of it. But it just there's so many of them. It's just it's so hard to keep up on.
It's so much now that it's crazy. Like when I found the podcast, when I first found it, there was only a few hundred, and I basically got caught all the way up. But when I go through, like if I were to look at it now, there's just so he has everybody on there, and it's still good, but some of the people just don't interest me. So like I'll scroll through and I'll be like, all right, I'll check out the Red Van one. Oh, Cameron Haynes, so that'll be 3 hours and 5 minutes of just bow hunting. I'll do that one. I'll keep going, keep scrolling. The Sam Harris one, I like him. I just keep going. Tom Segura's funny. I do that one. Chris and Mark Bell, actually haven't even listened to that one yet. Keep going.
How do you guys feel about Mark Bell on this jogging thing?
Has he been jogging?
I just see on Instagram his Instagram stories a lot. He's kind of transformed his walks into jogs.
To be honest, I'm not super on board with any of his
Current stuff.
I'm kind of put it in the nicest way that I possibly can.
Yeah, my thing is like, you can do whatever you want for your health, and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But my thing with it all is like, it should be entertaining. Mm-hmm. That's my only thing. And to me, this isn't entertaining. So I hope that there's an audience out there that it's entertaining. But if it's not, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with it. It's just like it's stuff that I just don't relate to.
I think it's obvious his old audience doesn't like it.
I think,
but I think he knows that probably.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think he's kind of evaluates the audience and is like, okay, I'm trying to appeal to.
It has to
yeah,
go.
he's trying to appeal to a broader audience every day, anyways.
But for those of us that started liking his stuff because of what it used to be like,
yeah, it's like
never
it's not even the same channel.
No,
anymore.
it's
like,
nothing.
I remember I
nothing's the
used to
same,
like
yeah.
get jacked, like, we're talking about this powerlifting stuff.
Yeah,
They got this
like-
guy on here, like,
Dan Green's gonna be on, then the Lily Bridges, and
yeah,
now
or
it's
just
like,
their YouTube videos. Like, it was really
yeah.
cool, and now it's like
Part of it is like I think content consistency is important, but I feel like there's too much now. It's almost too much
like
for any of it to be interesting.
And it's just a shotgun approach where it's like, bam, all these people that do all these different things.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I
Yeah.
don't care about 7 of the 10 of those
Yeah.
people doing those things.
So I don't assume that anything's going to change based on our say there, but
No.
well, you never know.
you never know.
But
His-
like we said, he knows what he's doing too. Like,
Yeah,
he's doing it
yeah.
for a
He's
reason.
done better
you
in
know?
the podcast business than we ever will.
Yes.
And the selling of neoprene items.
Yes.
Yeah, well, God, we should get some neoprene made in Pakistan, and we could make dozens of dollars. You guys be the best.
Yeah.
Like Matt says, you don't become the meathead millionaire buying high and selling low.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know what's going on over there. I guess I don't even know what the listenership is. I mean, I'm assuming if there's like a big exodus that there'd be an issue, but
Yeah.
it's hard to say. Plus, you can really fluff podcast data, and YouTube numbers don't matter as much per video. If you're making 10 videos a day, you might end up with the same amount of views, and then you can run concurrent advertisements on 10 videos, which is if you put a little effort into one, you only get to run one ad. So there's a little set for the saturation strategy when you're trying to pull $1 out of it. You know, if we did a podcast every day, we'd have more potential
downloads.
for advertising. We'd have more downloads, you know, and weekly downloads are important more than per episode. So it's a game. It's a game that we're fucking pretty much winning. It's no big deal.
Life's a game, and we're just the players.
And you notice that he spelled that with an A.
It's like Tech9 said,
What did Tech9 say? I think he said a lot of things.
I'm a player.
He also said some words I'm not allowed to say. I have a little Tech9.
Have you ever been to a
theory.
Tech9 concert?
I have not, but I have a little theory around Tech9.
My fiance has, I believe, multiple times.
Okay, don't say anything further because what I'm going to say may incriminate her. Okay, I have a theory, and this theory has been proven ironclad throughout my entire teenage and early 20s, is that girls who like to listen to Tech9 are easy. And this is a universal truth. This is the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Chicks who like Tech9 totally put out.
So go
Now,
to a Tech9 concert.
what I want you guys to do is I want you to think back through your lives, and anyone you've come across who's been super into Tech9, you'd be like, well, yeah.
What about guys that are into Tech9?
How does that scale?
Listen, yes.
Talk to me about something I'm a little more interested in there.
Speaking of being interested in guys, so Tanner comes in today, and the first thing he says to Tommy, because they basically like drove right behind each other here, not like sexually, just in cars, and
Scooter.
Tanner was on a
Same
scooter. I
scooter.
followed him on a car.
I followed him on the same scooter. But so Tanner comes in and is talking to Tommy like, did you see that guy running up there on 15th? He was fucking jacked.
No, it started with not to be gay, but
And then
And no offense to anyone that's gay, but I'm just saying, hey,
I just
I'm not saying
this isn't
you
about
just
me
wanted me
trying
to
down
know.
him.
Just like when Lil Wayne used to start his songs with no homo, he just needed to let you know what direction he was coming from.
So then the conversation goes into like, so I'm like, well, it might be this guy that I know. But we didn't, you know, because he doesn't train at our gym, so how could he be jacked? And then it's like, well, it's this guy. It's like, oh, it doesn't fit that bill. But he's like, you know what I mean? His pecs were fucking huge, and his shoulders were pretty big. Had pretty big traps. You know, he's about this tall, and like the next words were gonna be like, I mean, his dick looked pretty good.
it was swinging in the wind.
Just ever so gently.
I mean, his butt was like really on point.
Glutes were popping.
So
I said no. Didn't see him, Tanner.
And that is funny how that works, though, that, like, this is going to sound gay. Like, you see a pretty jacked dude, and you almost will give, at least in our, like, we'll give it the same double take like you would a really pretty woman.
Yeah, that's what I said that it was like. It's like
You're like, wait, that dude's pretty jacked.
yeah.
And then, and it is, it's the same look.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same, it occupies the same amount of time. And so now I'm going to start doing that anytime if my wife is, like, accuses me of doing
Like,
a
well,
double
I do it
take.
to guys too.
No, I'm just going to be like, no, did you see that dude was fucking jacked?
It's no different than Dumb and Dumber, you know?
Look at the blood on that one.
Yep.
He must work out. So Tanner's into dudes. I guess that's what
No new news.
that's what we're getting into.
More old business.
So, well, I think that's got us about wrapped up today. Pretty sure. Anything else we got to get out?
That was about it.
That's probably it.
That was it. I mean, we went through the whole itinerary. A, B, C, D, E.
I read a couple Chad Wesley Smith books, Juggernaut books that were really good.
Ooh, maybe we should save those for
Yeah,
more
we'll
in-depth
say-
book club
yeah,
review.
Yeah.
You mean you don't want to go in depth in the 2.5 minutes that we have left?
I mean,
before we
that
turn
might
into
be about
pumpkins?
all that I have to say about it, but but no.
We'll save it.
Yeah,
We'll give it a whole
we'll save
episode.
it. Yeah.
So, all right, well, that'll do it for us today. Let's see. Go to Massenomics.com. Store, hats, shirts, the huge
Stuff.
there.
Try it.
That's
money,
the stuff.
Money, give it to us.
If you want to give us money, you can give us money by emailing us at getbig@massenomics.com. You can give us money in exchange for goods by going to the store at massenomics.com. That's probably the best bargain for you, but the best bargain for us is if you just send us money. Other than that, follow us on Facebook. Go to youtube.com/Massenomics. The Arnold videos are finally blowing up.
They are actually doing well.
Yeah, so they're taking off now. Thanks for all your help. Make sure you still share those. Tell a friend. Get those out there. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, though.
Yep.
That's a big deal. If you're listening, you also know that these do come out in video. That's why there's all these lights and cameras, and we have 5-6 camera crews and new sound guys.
Smoke
and everything here.
machines, strobe lights,
The lighting does look good, though.
lasers.
It does. It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
How ugly we are.
How white we really are.
Yeah, I mean, I mowed the lawn today just to try to get a tan. But anyway, so that's got most of our bases covered. Follow us on Facebook, and I'm Tyler. You can follow me on Instagram at Tyler F. and Stone. Tommy?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
Tanner?
The Massenomics Instagram account at Massenomics.
Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.